Here to talk to the people here in this room today. And some of the things I would like to say, being a local business owner and not on the good old boy system the way they are running it, I've seen drastic changes in this town, where it's just going downhill. I mean, from the first time that I've opened to today as we speak. I mean, my Saturdays and Sundays, I did better on a Monday than I did on a Saturday and Sunday here.
And what do you do?
I own Caldas Coal Fire Pizza and Sports Bar in Myrtle Beach in the old Kmart Plaza. But that's not what I'm here for either. What I am here to make a statement is, we've all had enough. And if each and every person in this room doesn't go and at least tell 50 people, 75 people, 100 people that live in the city of Myrtle Beach, to get people up, to get them out to vote, you're not doing your job. You don't want to be here. Because we all got to take a part of this. People have been let down over years and years that they don't care. They really don't care what's happened because they've been either hurt or they've been lied to. They've been ashamed of what is actually happening here today. We've lost over 15 businesses just in the last year that I know of. And some of these businesses have been here 20 years. Good people. Now what are they going to do? So it's
a library.
Yeah, they're going to go to a library and read a book. I mean, it's up to us as a community, as residents, as business owners. It's up to us to make the difference this time. We have a chance. Because for the last 12 years, what have they accomplished? There's people on that board have been in office for way too long and sucking up all the values of it and sucking our hard-earned money into their pockets. So I'm asking everybody, as being a new local, because I love Myrtle Beach myself, okay? And I'm asking everybody here today that it's going to take each and every one of us to do our part to make a difference this election. This is something we should look forward to. This is something that we need to tell everyone we've had enough. We need change. So whoever you vote for, and if you, the ones that know me here know who I'm voting for. But that being said, these are the people that can make a difference. And we all got to stand together and rise up. I mean, I've heard so many stories, and as Ed said before, one year they had 14,000 people voting, and then another year 4,000. Why is that? That speaks in itself.
Our third candidate that's in attendance today is Mike Obika.
Thank you very much. My name is Mike Obika, and I am from Myrtle Beach. I've lived here for 57 years. I'll be brief. I grew up on the other end of town, and when I grew up on the other end of town, we owned 9 of the 20 oceanfront lots between both pavilions. I was that kid out there picking up cigarette butts, emptying trash cans. I did that in the 60s and 70s when this area was the greatest it ever was. When I went to college in the 80s, Ronald Reagan was president. Myrtle Beach was being compared to Orlando. The opportunities here were endless. And all we saw was opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Things got out of control. Things changed. Golf course industry grew, the golf course industry fell. 9/11 hit, things changed. Our community didn't change with it. We started off this meeting with a little bit of a passage from the Bible, and it reminded me, looking at the ocean, one of the best sermons I ever heard. Ronnie Bird, I know a bunch of you know him, gave a sermon about standing still out there in the waves. It will wash the sand right out from under your feet. You cannot stand still. Our town has become paralyzed. We've lost our way. As it says in the meeting here, it says we the people, we the citizens. We want to be citizens. It is us. It's not kings and queens. It's not dukes or earls. It's citizens beholden to one another to make this a better place to live. We have forgotten that. Our neighbors in Carolina Forest, our neighbors in Surfside and North Myrtle Beach, they don't even know what to do with us now. We have become bad neighbors, which was never our intent. We thrived on these communities to help make Myrtle Beach better. The first and greatest mayor that ever lived was Pericles of Rome and of Athens, and he lived some 2,000 years ago, and his favorite statement was, all good things come to the city because it's the city that's great. And they don't come to the city anymore because the city is not as great as the surrounding areas are. That's our problem. We've done that. You talk about taxes, you talk about restaurants, you talk about police. Well, let's just take it very simply. These two gentlemen sitting right here, when I was a child, we were the police. Andy here polices his property. I own a property adjacent to him. He doesn't allow anything to go on. Anthony right here does the same. He polices his own property. We policed our property. The city's nuisance ordinance reads something to the effect that the absence of law-abiding citizens is what causes a nuisance. Well, we have run off our law-abiding citizens. We're sitting here running them out of business. We're sitting here putting them under jeopardy, taxing them to death to where they have no choice but to leave. And if everybody leaves, who's left? It's we, the citizens. It's we, the people. This is our town. The reason I'm running for city council, I'm almost 60 years old. I've lived here all my life. I have friends now that are all across the country, and I have had an outpouring from these people that are so happy to see that somebody is taking an interest, these groups, all these people running for council, to make Myrtle Beach a place that we can be proud of again, a place that we can say we turned this place around. We are no longer an object of shame or despair, but we are uplifting and forward moving. As far as the police department goes, I was in the military for 9 years. And when I got out as a major. And I went through numerous OERs, EERs, and evaluations. And I can tell you one thing, I don't believe anybody in this room is qualified to be a police chief. We're not trained in that area, we don't know what they need, and I certainly couldn't tell you what they have to have. But I know this, if you hire a police chief, it's their responsibility to tell you what they need and for them to do their job. And if they can't do their job, you replace them with someone that can. And just as a city councilman, I've been through this experience for about 40 years in this town. I've had a business license since 1984. I own property in the super block, and they have bullied me and pushed me around, and I have heard every story and excuse that could possibly be made. And I got tired of hearing excuses, and I realized, if not now, when, and if not me, who, because it is my responsibility. I own that property. This is my hometown, and I want to see it the best it can be. And as far as these taxes and all these people, a rising tide does lift all boats. When I went through college and Ronald Reagan was president, I got a first-hand education at Ronald Reagan being president, and a rising tide lifts all boats. We have so many untapped resources and so much untapped potential. All we have to do is get a few people in office, free up some of these regulations, start doing some forward-thinking things. Everything doesn't have to be grandiose. As we mentioned earlier, the city has almost 50 festivals a year. If they do 48 or 45, must be insignificant. No one knows what they are. We don't stand for anything anymore, and it's time we do. We've got to put Myrtle Beach back on the map. We've got to let people know that we care here. We've got to let people know that we're ready to take this area into the year 2020 and beyond, and lead our neighbors and not fall behind and be an object to be pointed at and say they're doing it wrong.